Welcome all my lovely goblins and ghouls of the internet. I'm Anya, your demonic cinephile, and I want to quickly talk about Mayfair, which is season 2, episode 2, the Ten Swords, or Ten Swords, call something like that. For some reason, I'm recording this super late at night because I watched this episode twice now, and each time I watch it, it's losing me. There's not a lot of good things in this episode, or at least it's not catching my attention. I don't know, something about it's not sticking. But quick points though. I like last episode. I am enjoying this season a little bit more. I'm loving the new cinematography, the directions. I am loving the lighting, just the overall look of the show. It feels a lot more cinematic. It has this more creepy tones to it. It's not at all like that. I don't know what they were doing for last season with the cinematography and the lighting, but this one is, I love it a lot more. And like I said, it has just some scary scenes in this. Alright, so start off, we kind of pick up from last episode. We see Lasher out and about on the prowl, and he winds up at Mayfair Giver's house. Now, the scene is very similar to the books, but also very different. In the show, Lasher goes to her house, and he's very so how the show's been doing him since he's been born. He's confused, his memories are scattered, he doesn't really know what he is, who he is, and when he's get there, he's kind of talking a little bit nonsense, like, oh, I know you, but I don't know you. I live in that chill world. Eventually, they hook up, and it's consensual, and no, it's nice. It's nice. I like this. And then the horror comes when she starts hemorrhaging. She dies in Lasher's arms, and he is distraught and confused on why this is happening. Now, if you go back to the book, though, spoilers for the book. The book is very the book has a lot of sexual violence. That's the best way to explain it. And so, spoiler warning, spoiler warning, spoiler warnings for the books. Last year comes to Gifford, and her house is in New Orleans. Her house is like in Florida, I think. It's not, or maybe it's Louisiana. I know it's not in New Orleans, so she's kind of far away. And Lasher goes to her house, and it is very scary. It's very intimidating. He has come there not to simply. He's come there to take her, I guess I would say like that. And while he does seduce her, I think it's how it played out. It's not consensual. He's having some kind of effect on her. Either he's charming her with some kind of power, or his biology and his scent is making her kind of give herself to him. She wouldn't do it in her right mind. He does assault her, and the aftermath of the assault is very similar to the show, but a lot more in detail, and it's just then we go to Rowan trying to find Lasher, and she gets a call by Jojo. They go to Gifford's house, and she can tell that whenever Lasher's away, her new powers he gave her are weakened. I like how she can figure out that, oh, he was here because of the milk. There's an empty milk carton. Did I mention last episode? Lasher has a thing for milk, him and his people. And she goes in the woods, she finds some. Now, what I thought was really freaking weird is that when her and Jojo was there, and they go to Gifford's house, it's like midday. Like, it's not morning, but it's kind of like it's like the afternoon, sometime in the afternoon. But when she goes into the woods with Lasher, like 2 minutes later, it's pitch black. How long was she in the woods? How long was she looking for him? I don't know. I don't get that. And they start have this conversation, and it's one of the few times I've been really liking. I got his name wrong a couple times in the season 1 review video. Jack Hudson plays. I mean, that's his name. He plays Lash. Is that his name? I can't remember now. You'll correct me in the comments, please. The actor who plays Slasher, I'm loving him a lot better now. He's intimidating, but he's not fully intimidating. He's trying to be. He's confused. He's misguided. He plays it out so well. It's not the character from the book, at least not really, but he plays it so well. And even this one scene with him and Alexander Daddario, their relationship, this weird relationship they have, from past lovers to mother and son to enemies, they're selling it really good. And love the new directors that they got at least the director for this episode, because these two actually have chemistry now, which they didn't have no freaking chemistry back in season one. Yeah, but she's trying to lure him, trying to get him come closer, maybe to go back to the house or to kill him. He can tell, like, you don't want me. You think I'm a mistake. And that is decent chase scene. It's kind of silly with her shooting lightning and causing the trees to fall. It feels like it's trying to be personal and close, but also epic at the same time. And it kind of nails it, but also kind of doesn't. And the Lasher escaped. And we see when Lasher is hurt, he's alone in, I guess, a boat or something, or some kind of boat. Like when his blood drips onto this bug, we see the bug start to glow purple and get better, start flying away. And that was the thing in the book, though. I kind of forgot about that. Lasher does have some type of healing powers in the novel, kind of like what Rowan does in the book and the show. It's not exactly like him using his blood to heal people. I can't remember exactly how he did it, but he was a kind of a healer when he was first alive before he became a spirit. So I wonder how they're going to go with that later in the season. It might be interesting. Then we kind of move forward to Cyprian. He has a talk with Najun, I think that's her name. One of the Talamasca members, who was one of the good additions from last season. And she gives him this thing to use on Mona Mayfair that's gonna make her trust him immediately. He goes to meet Mona. He doesn't use it. He lets her read his mind. And they found this kind of trust. This mutual trust of hating Lasher. I love it. It's actually a pretty good scene. And it's a kind of an interesting comparison to the book because Mona, the original character from the novel, has a weird relationship with Michael from the novel. That's all I'm gonna say about it. But as everything goes on, Lasher makes his way to Mona's mother's house, Alicia, and they have this little mention of backstory with Alicia, how her and Deidre were friends when they were teenagers, and whenever they had sleepovers, Lasher would come to them and tell them stories about the time when the family lived in Haiti, like stories about Uncle Julian, and when Anthem left to New York, which are all things from the book, which, cool, I love that. Those are really interesting stories that will never get adapted for the show. I'm not exactly sure why the AMC let them waste so much freaking potential. I mean, I hate to harp on this because you'll hear me harp about it in the 3-hour video if you ever want to watch it. And Rice, like, good chunk of the first book is this big document detailing everything about the Mayfair family. And you could use that to get at least 5 or 6, maybe like 3 or 5 seasons of television by itself before even getting to Rowan and Michael, or Cyprian in this case. You could use all that material and you threw it the F away for this weird show. I don't get it. Apparently someone was drinking their dum-dum juice. That one was drinking their dum-dum juice. But yeah, they get this little interaction, and Lasher, as he does seduce her, and yep, after the deed is done, Moira finds her mother hemorrhage. She had a hemorrhage and died. Which I don't like the Alicia character. Didn't care for how they portrayed her, which is kind of close to the book, but I don't know. But I do love Moira's reaction to it, especially how she talks to her sister, like, "Don't come down here, do not come down here," and she doesn't know how. She or mother didn't have a good relationship, but you don't want to see your parent die, and she conveys that conflicting guilt and grief so perfectly. Like, the actress who is playing Moira, which I should look up her name, I'm not going to at the time. The actress who's playing Moira, she nails this character so well. Like, the season's not over yet, but I'm gonna say she is the saving grace of this season. I love her so much. And as all this is going on, we keep cutting back to Cortland. So Cortland is still the statue from the last episode, season 1. And he enters this kind of hellscape where he is interacting with his father, Julian, however you want to pronounce it. And I love how the director shoots this because it's like this big, long, broad table, and Julian is in this kind of like a throne, this high chair, and how they have Cortland positioned with the table and the camera. He looks so small. He almost looks like a child. And I just love that direction. I love this direction. This whole episode is so well perfectly crafted than anything that we saw last season. And I love the actor who's playing Julian. He almost kind of looks like he could be related to Harry Hamlin. And I love how the big boisterous Cortland from last season is kind of turned into a little kid, groveling for his father's approval. What I don't like though is that this is not Cortland. This is not Cortland from the books at all. Not Cortland, I mean Julian. This is not Julian from the books at all. This is Julian. Julian he was probably the closest to Lasher in the whole Mayfair witches, because Julian was the first and only male witch of the family. And of course, all the family have powers to a degree, but there's only like a true witch. That's the witch that Lasher binds himself to. And of course, the designee of that generation was Catherine. Yeah, Catherine. But it was Julian who was the witch of that generation, the first and only real male Mayfair witch. And him and Julian, they were going like best buds in a pod, and they did everything together. Lasher even copied a lot of his physical traits from Julian. Now, the difference here though is that Julian in the books, he was alive. He was alive. He was a magically gifted child, like since birth, highly intelligent since birth, and his grandma who taught him so much about how to do these tricks. Lasher taught him so much to do these tricks. Lasher was basically his best friend forever, and Lasher groomed and manipulated Julian into doing what Mayfair's do. And Julian is, like most of his family, a victim of Lasher's manipulations, and while he does a lot of awful things, Julian does a lot of awful things in the book, but I'm not sure you can use the word villain with him, because, I don't know, he's a very different, he does a lot of awful things, but he's not an evil person, I guess is the best way to explain it. Julian in the show, though, he is a straight up asshole. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to curse on this last days, but I gotta say, he is so much a freaking asshole. He is just a stereotypical, disapproving, evil father in the show. Just not what Julian was at all in the books. And I was waiting to see how they would adapt Julian. And sorry, surprise, surprise, he's nothing like the books. They completely butcher the character for something else entirely. Now, the character for the show being good, I'm gonna say maybe yes, because the actor is playing it well. But compared to what's done in the novels, I'm going to have to say pretty hard to know. Especially how they do it, because how they have him expressing Cortland's, like Cortland goes to put all this food on this plate, gets to the Cortland, and gets to Julian. Julian is disapproving. The Cortland just cuts a part of his hand off, and gives it to his father. His father's like, bitter. Which I don't know. I mean, yeah, this is approving parent, a parent who thinks you're worthless, a parent who's going to abuse you, take everything from you, consume you. I get what they're trying to say. I'm not sure if the whole gluttony angle is going to go anywhere else later this season, but And when Rowan pulls Cortland out of him, when she makes him flesh again, you can see Julian like, no, you can't go. You can't go. And then at the very end of the episode, you see Julian is still kind of there. So this is more than just Cortland's imagination. Julian's spirit, or maybe even his flesh, is still somewhere out there, a part of this world. And the same case was that for the novel too. Julian's spirit was either in some kind of pocket dimension, or some Sheol, or maybe even heaven, but they used his phonograph to kind of conjure his spirit to bring him to the physical plane for a brief moment. So I'm not sure if they'll do something like that in the show, but I'm not sure I'm gonna like it, because this is not even Julian from the books. It's just another character that shares the same name. It's all it really is. It's all it really is. But we do have a kind of decent direction when Rowan unfreezes Cortland. He is super apologetic. He's saying that he's a changed man. He doesn't deserve her forgiveness, and she is not believing a thing of it, which, alright, smart for her. It's just, it feels weird giving Portland this possible redemption arc, which maybe they'll go further in later episodes, but it feels weird giving this possible redemption arc within only 2 episodes. In the first episode, we barely see him in this realm, and here he has like 3 scenes at best before he's pulled back into the physical world. So I don't want the show to be longer than it really is, especially with how it's being constructed right now. But this needs to go for at least another episode. We've seen Corlin being tortured by his past sins and the spirit of his father. Because while it was conveyed pretty well why Corlin is the way he is, it didn't have an impact. It's like, okay, I understand from watching it, but I should be not hit over the head with it, but it should hit me though. It should hit me in the soul, should hit me in the heart. We want to convey this is why he turned out to be what he is. And they didn't really hit that. Maybe they will. Next episodes? Like I said, I kinda doubt that. But the whole thing they're saying for next episode is that Rowan wants to throw a party or a wake to get all the Mayfairs together so they can make a plan to stop Lasher. And the first thing I thought was, why didn't you bring Moira? Rowan, why didn't you bring Moira to the house while you unfroze Portland? Because, the thing about Moira, she's a mind reader. And you could have brought her there to read Corlin's mind to see if he was lying about anything. Have her taken to his head. Bring Sip there. Which I know the whole point is that she doesn't trust them. She wants to keep Lasher alive for now because she's too drunk off her new powers, which, see, I'm thinking about what the character wants and needs. Well, I'm thinking about as the viewer, like, bring them there so you can figure this out. Because she's still very hesitant on killing Lasher because she believes if he dies, all her powers will go away. Which they probably will because he can't use any of those powers anymore. They're all hers, which wasn't really a thing in the book. Yeah, Lasher could make his witches stronger, and they make him stronger, vice versa. But it's not like he gave them extra gifts or anything like that. And what was I saying? I think that was it. About the episode. So yeah, not a lot. Oh no, there's one more thing. The character Larkin. That's right. That's how I much hate this thing. The character Larkin finally makes his appearance in New Orleans because he was talking to Rowan on the phone early in the episode. Like, yeah, like the DNA of Lasher you gave me doesn't make sense. Like, it has to be some kind of contamination. No, it's not. Then he shows up later in the episode, just coming to New Orleans for why? I mean, it's hinted that they probably had a relationship in the past, but for him just make this big trip from San Francisco to New Orleans because his ex-girlfriend he hasn't talked to, like, I think they said last episode, like 6 years, gave him this weird medical DNA, and he thinks it's like some kind of challenge or puzzle that maybe she wants him back. It's like, how are you getting this? Like, I don't understand. The character, I liked him in the first episode. Here he's not fully working for me. He feels kind of pushy. He's trying to get back with Rowan, and it feels a bit weird and pushy. At least that's the information I got from it. But we do get some interesting things about Lasher that are similar to the books, that Lasher has, his DNA claims that he is not human. Lasher has 4 extra chromosomes that do not match anything humans have. And there's a good nice little reference though. I actually caught that where one of them says something about, is your patient an ape? And they say orangutan, but they just say ape because in the novel, Lasher's body, I think Rowan said his body had like the strength equivalent to an ape or a young ape, which was fine, nice little reference. But besides that, that's the thing of the episode and what I thought about it. Like I said, I like it so much better than anything we got from season 1. Still a lot of things about the show that I don't fully like. I'm still not fully sold on this version of Rowan. She's like complaint from the last episode. They're doing a lot just to make the character likable, which she really shouldn't be. The character should be kind of weird and conflicted. I'm liking the new changes they're doing on Lasher. I think it's a fun switch from the book. The only fun switch from the book that I like, where he's not a straight up villain. He is very conflicted, doesn't really know what he's doing. Everything with Cyprian is I don't really like it. It's a little bit better, mostly because of Moira, the actress playing Moira, but I don't really like it. The actor who plays Cyprian, I still love his performance. I just don't like his character. uh, Episode teased us with JoJo. We barely got any JoJo. It's just like character that I kind of like, and there's something fun about her. Everything else, though, minus the Lasher and Moira, kind of stinked. Kind of stinked. And I'm mixed on the deaths of the women in this episode because, well, I don't really want to see the hemorrhaging, them dying. I wish we held on the blood or at least the gore for a little bit. I don't know. We had this cool little gore scene with Cortland cutting off his hand, but when it comes to deaths that we should care about, it feels, I don't know. Maybe it's just me being a gore hound and loving blood and all that stuff. Because there's a point in the episode where Rowan tries to lift off the blanket over the body to examine it, and what do they call it, EMT, the morgue people tell her like, you don't want to do that. It's like, I want to see for myself. I want to see. I'm a sick freak. I know, but I want to see. Feels weird that Interview with the Vampire gets these weird gory death scenes that make no sense because the vampires really shouldn't be destroying their food like that. But when it comes to the witch show where they can do all the weird gory stuff they want, they don't do it. Yeah, like I said, better anything from the first season. Still kind of sucks compared to the books though. Next episode we're gonna have a party at the Mayfairs. We're gonna meet the vampire that Lestat was hanging out with at the end of season 2. So that might be cool. Or learn about that character. And that's it. That's it. That's the end of it. There's nothing else. See you when episode 3 drops. I'll try to get that video out earlier. I'll try to record the same day it drops. I swear to it. I swear on it. I swear. Alright, bye. Bye.